everyone, we're back. If you remember at the end of last week's YouTube video, we mentioned that there was a service bulletin for the lower rudder hinge brackets on the RV10s. So we started that beginning of this week here, and just want to show you, this is a pretty invasive service bulletin. The entire vertical fin has to come off. Not a lot of fun. If you got, find somebody small, fit their arms in back there, usually works a little better. But anyway, failure of this lower rudder hinge bracket could be a little bit catastrophic. If you come over here, Nick, we'll show everybody on the actual bracket. You can see this one, the service bulletin points out cracks emanating from the rivets. I don't know if you can see that in there. And this one's riveting, the cracks are showing up on a couple of rivets. So we've got to get this bracket replaced. So we'll show you here in a little bit how you do that, but it's important to check those, okay? So we have a customer who just brought us an RV6 that they bought and asked us to do a safety inspection on it. So we're kind of doing a thorough engine check here. And one of the things we noticed was this light speed coil. When we pulled the spark plug wire off, the terminal on the coil came right off. So that one's no good. And then we happened to ohm out the other coil, and I've written about this in my books. The coil was open. So these coils should show about 8 point something K ohms across the two spark plug terminals. The other one was open. Luckily, we still had one of the old style terminals in stock, so we've replaced that one. And then you can see here, Klaus and Lightspeed have developed a new style coil. It's much bigger, actually. I've been running these new style coils now for about 150, 200 hours on my RV10. They do seem to be a little more powerful. So anyway, you want to check these coils and at both ends, so there you go. So listen, a real source of intermittence on electrical things, especially engine indications, are really poor quality connectors, such as these cheaper automotive type terminal connections that only have a single crimp on them. You can look here, this wiggles, right, and actually pulls right out with very, very little force. The right way to do that, okay, is to use a high quality amp connector. I'll put this on so you can see it. I'm actually gonna fold this one over so we get a good bit of wiring in there, okay? I'll push that in there, okay? And you look at that right there. And then we use high quality double crimp connectors, okay? We'll push this right on there. And you can see we'll get a real good crimp out of that. A little bit of wire showing, that's good. And you can't pull it off. You should be able to put a really good tug on there, okay? All right, so here's a set of floats that we've just removed from this carburetor, which is off of the 912 on this RV12. And so give the floats time to dry out, and then we're going to take them over to a very accurate gram scale. That should be good to 1/10 of a gram. We're going to put these on there and weigh them. Hopefully you can see this number there, 9.1. Rotax has a spec. If the two floats together weigh more than 7 grams, they're no good. These are pretty high, and these could cause a serious problem. They could actually flood the engine. So we got a new set of floats here. We're gonna put them on the scale, and you can see they are at 6.2. So good thing we checked these. Please do the same on yours. So here's an interesting one on an RV10. We're doing a compression check, a little low, but not only that, it's very, very audibly blowing past the exhaust, as well as the anti-splat arrow into the exhaust right up in here is probably blocked. It's rattling and making noise as well. But we are getting a lot of blow by here. We're going to bore scope this cylinder. It is number 3 cylinder. Hi everyone, so here's a real life reason on why you need the bypass valve for the anti-splat arrow valve. So we have an engine that's got a little bit of blow by, which is a little high on a IO 540. Some of the plugs were a little bit oily, but when we did a compression check, we're hearing all kinds of noise. It's basically the check valve. So if you look in here, I don't know if Nick, if you can get a good close up there. Is that coming out all right? Yep. This one is blocked. It's got a tiny hole in there, not near enough for blow-by pressure. And then you can see up in there, we've got the valve that goes out, down, so it's a safety valve. Good thing on this one. but that's how that's supposed to work. It did, albeit it's a little bit restrictive from what we can tell because the engine's kind of leaking oil in the seams and everywhere. So it was a good catch on the condition inspection. This one had about 200 hours on it from last year.